Hello there again, it's Sean Ward from Pennine IT Services, and this is going to be another video about Copilot in Microsoft 365. In my previous video, I showed you how you can use Copilot within individual Microsoft 365 apps, such as Word, to help you write documents and stuff. This second video is showing you something that's rather more powerful than that. It's the creation of Copilot Agents. So in this demonstration, as it says on the screen, I'll be explaining how a Copilot Agent in Microsoft 365, which is an AI assistant, can be configured and linked to an organization's data stored in SharePoint to help users retrieve information via a simple chat interface. It's important to mention right from the outset that creating and using Copilot agents using data stored in SharePoint incurs a cost over and above your Microsoft 365 license fee. I'll talk about that in more detail and how to keep that cost to a minimum towards the end of the video. Okay, let's get on with the video. Here I am in the landing page after having logged into Microsoft 365. For those of you that haven't logged in to Microsoft 365 for a while, you'll notice that it looks rather different from how it used to be. That's effectively because Microsoft have rebranded Microsoft 365 now as M365 Copilot. I've had a few clients ring me up and say, Sean, it all looks different. How do I get to my apps? Well, that's quite simple. You just click on the apps in the left-hand menu, and that then suddenly becomes and looks a lot more familiar. Anyway, that's just an aside. If we go back to the landing page, you'll see on the left-hand side, there's an app there called Sales Invoices Assistant. That is a Copilot agent that I've built and I'll demo to you in a second. Now, to explain the reasoning behind building that app, I'm going to flick over to my SharePoint team site. There we go, there's my team site. And I have a document library in my team site called Accounts. So I'll click into that, and within that I have a folder called Sales Invoices, and this is where I store all of my sales invoices from my business by financial year. And you can see they go back to 2012, 2013 when I set up my business. But if I click into the most recent 25-26, the current financial year, you'll see then that it contains folders for each and every one of my clients. And within those folders, if I click, say, for example, into Bead Events, you'll see that those are the sales invoices for that financial year, for that client, and they're held in PDF format. Now, if I wanted to, for example, find out the total sum of those invoices for that financial year, I'd have to open up each of the PDFs, get my calculator out and manually start adding them up. Quite a time-consuming task. So the notion behind the AI agent that I've built is to be able to interrogate this folder Accounts, to interrogate the folder Sales Invoices, and to be able to get the agent to do the heavy lifting for me. So let's go back to my landing page, and we'll click on this Sales Assistant and I'll show you what it can do. So here we are now. This is the Sales Invoices Assistant, the AI agent, the Copilot agent that I've built, and we'll ask it to do something. So let's say list all the sales invoices, and I'll pick a client issued to Hydrotex in 2025. One line per invoice, and specify the invoice number, the invoice date, and the invoice amount. And we'll get it to go away and do that for me. So it's whirring around. It's now interrogating that folder of sales invoices that I showed you, because I specified that was the data source, and it's now trying to find everything that it can find. And there you go. It's found all the invoices for my client Hydrotex that were issued to them in 2025 and given me what I've asked for. It's given me the invoice number, the invoice date, and the invoice amount. I could probably take that one step further. Please add a total. And there it goes away doing its stuff again. And what I like is it tells you what it's doing as it's going along. And there it is. It's given me the total amount. So you can see how powerful these AI assistants are, because I've told it what the data source is. It knows where to go and find the data, and it just does its stuff. Incredibly powerful thing to be able to do. That's just an example of what you can build. It really doesn't matter what your data is. You can build an AI assistant to interrogate it in any way that you want. So the best way to show you that is, let's build another AI assistant to do something different. And I'll explain the data source and what we're going to build. I hold data relating to my customers that help me provide support to them. And that data is held in a separate SharePoint site, which I created years ago, called New Pennine. So if I head over to that SharePoint site, you'll see within within that site there, I've got a notebook, and if I click on that notebook, it'll load up, and you'll see that I've got sections within the notebook that relate to all of my clients, and they hold information that I need when I give them support. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build an AI agent that can interrogate that notebook. So let's go ahead, and you'll see an agent being built now in real time. So I'm going to click on Create Agent. And the best starting point, you get two tabs at the top. You get Describe and you get Configure. The best starting point is to work with Describe. So what I'm going to do here, and I've provided myself some stuff I can copy and paste in preparation for this demo. So the very first thing we've got to tell it is what the agent is all about. So I'll just copy this and we'll pop that in here. So what we're doing here is we're telling Copilot Studio that we're building an agent that will report on client information stored in the new Pennine notebook, which is stored in SharePoint. And it's saying, great, we're setting up this agent now. What do you actually want to call the agent? And they're suggesting calling it Client Info Reporter. And I'm going to say, no, let's call it something else. Please name the agent Client Data Assistant. And let's get me spelling right. I'm the world's worst speller. So we'll tell it that's what we want to call the agent to be called. So it's going away and it's now going to rename the agent to be Client Data Assistant. And if I scroll up on the right hand side here, you'll see now it's changed the name of the agent to being Client Data Assistant. Now it's telling me, let's clarify what specific tasks or actions you want the agent to perform while reporting on client information. Now you can be really detailed about this and you can tell it in great detail the powers that you want to give the agent. Once again, I've just prepared something very simple for the purposes of this demo. It will provide accurate and organized responses to queries about client details. So let's just copy that and we'll paste that in. But you can, the more and more that you build agents, the more and more you start to realize that you can provide a lot of detail telling the agent how it's going to work, and you'll become better at it. But for this purpose, let's just give it something simple here, which is what I've entered in there. So that's what we want it to do. Now at this point, it's going to you're teaching the agent about what skill sets it's going to have, and they've said fine, okay, it will now provide accurate and organized responses to queries about client details from the new Pennine notebook in SharePoint. Now this bit's really important. Next, adding knowledge data sources is optional. If you want the agent to use additional publicly accessible websites as knowledge sources, you can provide the URLs for that. We don't want to do that. We want it to only use the data source that we've told it to do. We don't want it whizzing off into the internet to find other data sources. So I'm going to say no. Only use the data source specified, and that's really important. So we only want it to use that notebook in the new Pennine team site as the one and only data source. So it's now just whizzing away, learning that that's all it can only do. So just give it a few seconds. Right, so now at this point, it's best to flick over to the Configure tab, and you'll see now that it's taken the description, it's taken the instructions, and this is the all-important bit. We're going to tell it where that data source is. Now, I've already copied the URL of that notebook. So I'm going to paste that in. And there you go. It's picked up that that is going to be its one and only source of data. It won't go anywhere else other than here. And that's pretty well it. Um, so what we can do now before we actually click create to make that agent live, it gives you the ability to test it. Um, Now at this point, it's important for me to tell you that it can take up to about 24 hours when you create a new agent for the data source to be indexed. So you may not get total and complete answers for the first 24 hours. Give it a day after creating the agent and actually using it in anger so that it has time to actually index that data source. But we'll try a query now to see whether it can find something. So what I'm going to ask it is, I know I know that this information exists for this query. So I'm going to say list the Z drive details held for Martin and Co. Martin and Co are one of my clients, and Z Drive is a bit of software that I supply them. Um, so let's see if it can do that. So bear in mind now, I've only just built this agent, so it hasn't indexed the data properly yet. But it probably will return something. So let's see what it does. And it has. And there you go. And I know that that's the right data because I recognize it. And so you can see that it's interrogated that notebook in the new Pen 9 team site, and it's found the details I've asked it for. So I know that this agent works. Like I say, it's going to take about 24 hours to fully index that data source. But just from what this initial query, I know it works. Let's ask it to do something else about some data I know that I hold for Martin and Co. Um, List the details for relate details relating to Malwarebytes, which is another bit of software that I know I provision for Martin and Co. And see if it can find that. As I say, it may not have indexed the notebook yet, so it may or may not find it at this point in time. In 24 hours' time, it definitely will find it. Oh, but there you go, it's found it. So wonderful. Right, let's go ahead and click create on this agent. And it's whizzing away and it's creating the agent. Now it can take a minute or two, so we'll let that done. It's created it, and it's given me a link for the agent if I want to share it with somebody. So I'll copy that link and pop that in that little OneNote. This is just for my own purposes, so please indulge me for the moment. And we'll click. So this works only for you. Let's change the sharing settings. and I'm going to share it. Anybody in my organisation will be able to use this agent now. And we'll close that off. And we'll click update. And we'll let it whir around. And now we'll go to the agent. And now you can see on the left hand side of my landing page, it's now added that agent. And like with the sales invoices agent, which I shared with everybody else in my organisation, anybody else in my organisation that logs into their Microsoft 365 account will see those two agents and will be able to use them. How good is all of that? You've seen how powerful these agents are. They don't have to be used just for accessing internal data that you store in SharePoint. They can be built to access data on websites or external sources. But I think building agents to access your internal data are incredibly powerful and will save hours and hours of time. So there you go. Now, I did say that I'd talk a little bit about the cost. Now, in order to be able to build and use agents, Microsoft 365 agents that interrogate data that you store in your organization, such as in SharePoint, require either a Microsoft 365 Copilot license for anybody that is going to either build or use those agents. And Copilot licenses aren't cheap. I'm going to flick over to this screen here. This is taken from my licensed distributor because I can sell licenses. But you can see here, the annual cost of a 365 Copilot license, the recommended retail price is 277 quid a year. So everybody in if you want everybody in your organisation to be able to run and use those agents, they would have to have one of those licenses. And so you can see that that's expensive. But there is a cheaper alternative. Microsoft do give you the option of, they give you a pay-as-you-go option, which is can work out a lot cheaper. And what that effectively means is that your users won't need those Microsoft 365 Copilot licenses, but whenever they use the agents, they're metered, and there's a cost involved, but it's relatively low. And if you think about it, people aren't going to be using those agents 24/7, 365. They're only going to be using them every now and again. So a pay-as-you-go option will work out, in my view, far cheaper than actually provisioning them with Microsoft 365 Copilot licenses. Now, in order to get onto the pay-as-you-go subscription, there is a requirement that you need to set a couple of things up first of all. Now, when your organisation has a Microsoft 365 tenant, i.e. subscription, it also you also get created an Azure account. Now, what Microsoft Azure is it controls all of the cloud services that Microsoft provide. But as far as the pay-as-you-go option, the relevance of that, as far as the pay-as-you-go option for Microsoft Copilot Agents is, is that in order to enroll in the pay-as-you-go scheme, you have to have two things. You have to have a Microsoft Azure subscription, and I'll click on this and you'll see I've got a subscription. Now what that subscription enables, if you don't have a subscription, you can create one by clicking the add button here. What that does is it effectively gives you an account, a billing account. So by creating the subscription and you attach a credit card to it, Microsoft know where to send the bills for your pay-as-you-go solution. The second requirement that you'll need in Azure is something called a resource. A resource group. So you've got your subscription, they know where to bill you, but you'll also need a resource group. And if I click on this resource groups, you'll see you can create a resource group, and you'll see here I've created one called Copilot Chat, and it's dead easy to create. You don't need any other details, you just click create and you give it you tell it what subscription you're attaching it to, and that will be the subscription that you've just set up. And then you give the resource group a name. And you saw that I called mine Copilot Chat. And so just enter in your name. You can select which region you want to use. What this means is this is where all the Microsoft servers are. I suggest if you're UK based, choose either choose the Europe, UK, South. And so when you've added in the resource group name, just click review and create, and you create that resource group. I'm not going to do it because I've already done it for me. So two things you'll need: the Microsoft Azure subscription and a Microsoft Azure resource group. So once you've set those up, how you set up the pay-as-you-go is you go into your admin area, in Microsoft 365, sorry, I should have said, and you go under Copilot, and you'll see this option called billing and usage. And what you do there is you create a billing policy, and it's dead easy. It walks you through what to do. You can see I've already done mine. I've created it called Copilot Chat. So once that billing policy will ask you to specify the Azure subscription and the Azure resource group that you just, which I've just showed you how to set up in Azure. And once you've done that, you'll attach a pay-as-you-go service. And there's the pay-as-you-go service that you need to attach. Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat. Once you've set all of that up, your users will be able to access and use the agents that we've created, that you create, without needing a Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat. A Microsoft 365 Copilot license, the 270 quid a year thing. The good thing about the pay-as-you-go service as well is that you can set a limit, and so you can say, right, we're only going to use up to, say, £100 a quarter. If we hit that limit, stop people using it. So that setting that metered limit will stop the rogue employee who just wants to play on the agents all day long for fun. And you'll soon be able to spot who the rogue is and stop them doing it. But that's going to using the pay-as-you-go service is vastly going to reduce the cost of using agents. So I really do recommend that's what you do. So there you go. That's the end of the demo, and you've seen me using and building Copilot Agents in Microsoft 365, and I'm sure you'll agree they're incredibly powerful. So that's all for now. Until next time, I'm Sean Ward, Penn IT Services. Talk to you again soon. Bye bye.